will you guys just have sex?
Yeah, just for me. Do it for me.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by Barrett Scher from Music Video Sins.
Hello.
And subbing in for Jeremy Scott today is a guy we've mentioned many times on this show, Jonathan Watkins.
Yay!
Hey.
This guy knows some fucking movies,
Yeah.
guys. So, you know, we're going to put him to the test.
That's right.
No
The
pressure.
Goddamn test.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to continue our series of best of the years we've been alive, and today is 1998.
Well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man. I'll see you on the beach.
Somebody help me! I'm being spontaneous!
It's like you're dreaming about gorgonzola cheese when it's clearly brie time, baby.
Take dead aim on the rich boys.
Pay that man his money. Did you eat all this acid?
Yes.
1998, not a great year by any means.
No, especially coming on the heels of the last year.
Yeah,
which was-
Really. See, I'm kind of on the opposite end there. I had a really hard time finding my number one. I'm still debating as we talk.
I mean, there were obviously very good movies that came out in 1998, but in 97, it felt like we had to spend nearly the entire episode talking about it and everything. And all right, let's go ahead and talk about the biggest hit of 1998, Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg basically making a comeback here because the previous year he had made movies that were kind of
Yeah,
Lost
subpar
World,
for him. Yeah.
Amistad, but then like 4 or 5 months later, he's got this Saving Private Ryan movie.
Yeah.
This is a World War II movie that's very visceral. It's and it's got kind of a, would you say it's almost, I don't know, Full Metal Jacket in its kind of its structure, because it's got this exciting 20-30 minute opening, and then for a good hour or so, it's kind of like, all right. We're walking around.
We're walking.
Well, and Spielberg is a big Kubrick guy, so I mean that's why he did AI. No, I think it's very Full Metal Jacket. Even the sniper sequence is very Full Metal
there's a sniper
Jacket.
sequence
Oh
in
my
it.
God. And that opening scene, man, you can't get. I mean that's we'd never really seen anything like that really took it to that graphic level, and it really puts you in there, and it sticks with you. I mean, that's really like the money shot of the movie, I guess.
Yeah,
is the opening on par with Full Metal for you guys, though? I mean, I think it is.
It's completely different,
It
obviously, but I mean, it's an action scene.
Mm-hmm.
It is as intense an action scene you can start a movie with that. I mean, in the history of movies, one of the biggest in the history of movies.
Oh yeah, for sure. God, that like them just going in the water, and like the camera stays with them as they go in the water, and the bullets are still fucking flying.
yeah.
And people are getting shot and killed. They're fucking underwater. And it's just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And then they already made it to the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they get on the fucking beach, and that's even it goes batshit. That is a hell of a sequence.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a problem with the narration though in that movie? There's like a narrative mystery, like who is giving the narration. For some reason, that's always bothered me a little bit, just because he wouldn't know about.
They're trying to make it a big surprise at the end.
And he wouldn't know about some of the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's ever bothered me.
Well, and I think because they could have made it somebody else, because there is at least one other person that lives. I mean, they could have made it somebody else. I guess for the fact that it's Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Fuck it. It's Private Ryan, spoiler. It just seems like such an easy thing to fix. I just couldn't figure out. But I guess because the whole movie's focused around that, it makes more sense that he's narrating.
Well, it's one of those narration type of things where you're just kind of like, you're not thinking of it being a surprise.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being
and maybe
one.
that's what makes it more irritating.
Yeah.
Is that they try to, big, like a whodunit, and you're like,
right. Well, this has got a huge cast in it. It's an amazing cast. I mean, and a lot of people come in and just do like, a couple lines of work and they're out. They just want to be in a Spielberg movie. Ted Danson shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah. I just rewatched this and I forgot about
that. But Matt Damon, who's off of his Good Will Hunting like victory lap or whatever, like. I enjoy the fact that Spielberg put everybody through like boot camp or whatever, except for Damon, because they wanted the actual like when they run into his character, they wanted to resent him. They wanted to, because we went all the way out here for you. We lost a bunch of people for you. Damon's like sitting there like, I'm just here for work, guys. But this is a great movie. I think it's got two exciting bookends, and then it's got in between. It's even the in between is still good. It's one of those type of things. It's I have people say, well, it just kind of dies after that. Well,
oh no,
not at all.
And it's Tom Hanks hitting another home run too.
Yeah.
The scene in the stairwell might be my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's a great one with Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's an odd scene. It was an odd scene for me when I first watched it because there's the character that they let go early on, and then the guy that ends up killing him looks kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, they let that guy go, and now what? Oh, it's not the same guy. But it's not the same guy.
I remember watching it when it came out, going, isn't that Chandler's roommate? Like crazy roommate from that episode arc on Friends?
Well,
Friends?
And me, it was like the guy from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
The guy from Dazed and Confused? Oh my God. Anyway, Saving Private Ryan is a really good movie. Let's go on
I spoiled the shit out of.
Yes, you did. What else in 1998? We have The Truman Show, came out in 1998.
Oh, great movie.
Yes, it's a really great movie. It's Jim Carrey taking over what Robin Williams did with Peter Weir, where Robin Williams was known as a comic actor, mainly, even though Good Morning Vietnam kind of showed what he could do. But this is Carrey's really first serious movie. Like everything before this was just goofball stuff. Now he's in this, and it's a prescient movie too.
Oh yeah. What I like about that is that they give him a chance to do his typical shtick as part of that universe, and then he slides into the more serious stuff.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, you know, and he's got that typical Jim Carrey thing, but then slides easily into that dramatic role, it's great.
And it's such an insane scenario that would just never happen, but you kind of believe it works. I mean, it works within the context of the movie, and that's all I ask. I mean, I like a lot of movies set in space and shit. So, I mean, as long as you can make me believe that that's happening, I'll buy it. But, I mean, obviously there's no way that's... But it was weird because reality TV blew up at that time, too.
The idea of cameras following someone around 24 hours a day, I mean, it's not too far away from Keeping Up with the Kardashians and stuff like that. Although we know shows like that are actually scripted and they, they cut out so much.
Yeah, they gave him a pet monkey one season. My wife watches it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever. I love it.
But yeah, Truman Show has kind of I guess what would not Blade Runner, The Running Man.
No, Blade Runner
Close,
works.
Totally.
The incest movie.
The Blade Running Man. But no, The Running Man is kind of the same deal, right? Like, that's something that we don't think ever could happen because of the human rights issue that's involved in that. But it's just on the cusp of being correct, like in this society.
Well, and they're not killing people in Truman Show either.
No.
Yeah, that's a little more believable. But it's crazy.
But in the Truman Show, it's more about like we put cameras on a kid when he was just born.
Yeah.
And by the way. Can you imagine watching the Truman Show when he's a baby for like years? Like that was
I thought about that.
It's like gonna be the worst show ever. And then finally when he starts talking, like, oh, okay, now I'm on to this. Man, they probably lost like billions of dollars in that first 3 years or whatever.
Oh, and how expensive it would be to keep. I mean, it's kind of like the Jurassic World argument. Like, would this really exist just from a financial standpoint? I don't think you could have enough sponsors.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure those actors aren't getting paid much, but there's like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and
that's the great part of this movie, though, is how they work in the sponsorship, the
Oh,
sponsors and all that.
Yeah.
Like the guy always comes in like prominently showing a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
It's like, Truman, I got your favorite beer. Here it is.
Yeah.
And Carrie's great. Ed Harris, I think Ed Harris got nominated. He's great. Carrie didn't, oddly enough, which is bizarre. And he was very upset about it. He made it very well known.
Right.
But Laura Linney is really good in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think Primal Fear kind of got her going, but then this was really where, she started to shine.
Yeah.
She's just amazing in this movie.
You think about all the people who have to play actors in this. It's an insane job. It's a double job.
Mm-hmm.
It's, especially the Noah Emmerich character who plays his friend and everything. And like, I read something pretty interesting from him. A lot of people hate that character because of what he does to Truman and this. He lies straight to his face for so long and everything. He's like, look, this is a guy who was a kid and was thrown into this show, and he had to be his friend, and he grew up to be this person at the end, but it was never, it's his parents' fault that he's thrown into this world where he has to be this guy's friend and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a great movie. This is just one of those that I can watch over and over and over again.
And to show you how, if you really want to know how good it is, watch Ed TV, which came out a year later and sucked so much ass.
Oh, it was terrible. But Ed TV is weird. It's a weird thing there because you had Dennis Hopper was supposed to play Kristoff in Truman Show, and then he ended up being in Ed TV, and it's just one of those things where you sit there and go, there were definitely two scripts going around, or one script going around, and they pitched it to one studio, and they passed, and then they made their own movie out of it after that. 1998 also. A huge, and this is going to be the most contentious one here because I know Jonathan hates this movie. The Big Lebowski.
I don't hate it. I do not hate it. And I rewatched it just a couple days ago, and when I found out I was doing this, and because I knew this would come up, I don't hate it. I've never hated it. It's a perfectly fine movie. And I mean, it was a bomb. It wasn't a bomb, but it didn't do very well at the box office. This was their follow-up to Fargo.
Yep.
So it was a big deal. It didn't do very well at the box office. And then it hits video, and it just blows the fuck up. I guess because the people late night smoking pot were watching it. But I just don't get I guess I just don't get the epic love for it. I think it's perfectly fine. I think there's funny moments. I think there's moments that are not funny. I think John Goodman's really good. Julianne Moore's amazing. Even Tara Reid's funny. I mean, there's good moments. I guess I just don't get the love for it.
I'm way on the opposite on this. I really love this movie, but it's one of those it's a stoner character, but you're putting him in a situation that is what Philip Marlowe or whatever. It's it's kind of a type of thing like that. You put that character in there, and he's trying to solve things, and it's funny to me that this is such a complex story. He's trying to figure it all out, and really, even if you're not stoned, you can't understand what's going on. Really. So a lot of the humor comes from the fact that I'm watching this character who can't he's way out of his depth, try to solve a mystery like a Philip Marlowe or whatever like that would. And almost everything in this lands for me. It's one of those where I feel like there's a lot of layers to the comedy, and there's a lot of just like, there's, I love the fact that there's so many times where he'll hear something and then later repeats it out of context. And it's just, and there's so many just like fun little symbolism type things in it. The scissors, the all that stuff that's going on with the, I guess it's male, cutting off his penis basically. It's basically the fear of that the whole time. And there's even the part in there where it's like, well, cut off your Johnson, but I was kind of surprised that you weren't as high on Big Lebowski.
Well, this, no pun intended, but I mean, this movie doesn't need any more viewers. Like they've got Lebowski Fest that started off everywhere, and it's one of the most quotable movies that I can remember. Yeah, and it's definitely, I mean, coming off the heels of Fargo, which was also very quotable. I mean,
is this better than Fargo to you?
No, I don't think it's better than Fargo.
See, I don't think it's. I don't think it's better than Fargo. And I don't think it's better than Raising Arizona. Like, if I'm talking about their comedies.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one because Raising Arizona is so good too.
Yeah.
Like, I think Raising Arizona might be the better movie, but Big Lebowski's funnier than that.
It's better than Intolerable Cruelty.
yeah, we can agree on that.
and I do like, I'm with you on Lady Killers. Lady Killers is not bad. It's better than Lady Killers.
Yeah,
there
you go.
And also, one thing I did want to mention about that, and I never thought about that, where he does kind of like, where he realizes what's going on. That is kind of like the bum version of like Columbo or somebody like telling you, this is how it happened.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it that way. That is kind of interesting.
But yeah, it's just one of those movies. I think, it's so quotable and it's so funny all the way throughout. Either you love everything about it or you think there's just some good moments.
Like most Coen Brothers movies.
1998, Rushmore.
Oh,
great
yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Another great one. This is Wes Anderson's second movie.
Yeah, but it's the first one
it's
that
the one
people
that
saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like on a whole other planet from Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, Bottle Rocket's fine.
Yeah, this is so good. This is Jason Schwartz. I think it's his first movie, Jason Schwartzman's first movie.
As far as I know.
But a terrific like opening performance for this guy, and he carries this movie that's just filled with like amazing comic wonder of it's the introduction to Wes Anderson as we know it.
Yeah, what it is though, if you like Wes Anderson but he's a little too precious for you, you should watch this movie because it's right before he gets to that super precious where he's working with miniatures and things like that. Like, this is something set in the real world, relatable. There's a lot of like pathos in there, but it's hilarious. It's Bill Murray, really just a tour de force from him, and kind of reintroducing.
I was
going to
say that brought him back. That was his Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's not too cutesy. So definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, there's so much darkness to this movie, and it's got all the it's got that happy, uplifting kind of look and feel to it, but. Man, Max Fisher is a dangerous motherfucker in this movie. There's that whole, I love that whole montage of them like getting back at each other and everything. Him and Murray and everything. Nice. Like putting bees in the guy's room and like the Bill Murray goes over and like backs over his bike and all that, and I love the also like Max just cannot take no for an answer with his teacher Olivia Williams, who's great in this as well. There's a point where it seems like he's finally all right, I'm done, I give up or whatever, and then he shows up at her house pretending to be hit by a car and goes through the window and all this other stuff. I mean, it's an unusual love story, I guess. It's I mean,
but that's my favorite kind of love story. I mean, do something different.
He's a great character. He's a terrific character. He's leading all these groups and everything. He's got like a little minion and everything, and like he's really seemingly got everything under control, which he absolutely does not. It's a wholly unique movie experience.
But Schwartzman never really blew up like I thought he would after that. But maybe he didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, that's
maybe
a target audience.
I mean, he still does stuff. He works.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's
for Wes Anderson.
Yeah, he's in like every Wes Anderson movie. He was in Phantom Planet for a minute. He does this thing.
Yeah, he's in Shop Girl. He'll show up in a lot of movies, just
Scott Pilgrim
randomly shows up.
And it looks like, and it's almost like it's so effortless too. Like you can just tell he is really good. And I just wish there'd be something a little more challenging he took on, because like in stuff like Shop Girl, like he completely elevates that movie. I mean, it's just effortless. He's a really good actor. He's underappreciated for sure.
Yeah. Rushmore is it may be one of my favorite movies of all time, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's in that.
It's amazing.
It's in that consideration for like top 20 at least. One of those.
But yet you're gonna pick Small Soldiers for your favorite movie.
I probably will pick some. Let's talk about Small Soldiers since you brought it up. Joe Dante, basically doing Gremlins with toys.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
It's a fun movie, man. It really is.
I hadn't seen it in forever. I have a little girl. I got a 5-year-old girl, so I showed it to her this past year, and I was like, I enjoyed it more than she did. I was like, I did not remember this movie being this much fun.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones. It's like a more violent Toy Story.
Yeah, it is. It is. It kind of is.
Sold.
It's like, if you took the army men from Toy Story and made their whole movie. Yeah, it's got that ridiculous premise at the beginning. Isn't it Jay Moore and David Cross at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
And like they want to make these toys more exciting, so they get some sort of like military grade weapons to go on there.
No, it's insane.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfectly insane. It's perfect insane. But like just one of those type of things where like what a bunch of bullshit. Now let's enjoy the movie. But
if you were going to set odds that we were going to talk about Small Soldiers before we talked about the Oscar winner for Best Pictures, I think you were taking the long shot.
I think I've seen Small Soldiers more times. And
I probably have too.
But this is for This is for parents. If you've got a 6 or 7 year old kid, and you're sick of showing them like
American History X.
Yeah, you're sick of showing them American History X.
Yeah.
Pop in Small Soldiers.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, no,
it does not have a curbside tooth scene.
It's a kids movie that actually doesn't like talk down to the audience. I hate when I see these like directed at kids movies that are all like, let's put everything cute that we can possibly put in this, and it just
it felt more like an 80s kids movie, except I think it's more for kids because I mean you go back and watch like Goonies and stuff and they're like cussing, talking about like tits, and I mean just what I mean I'm just saying
that's gonna be the cold open, I have a feeling.
But no, I know what you're saying though.
All right, so since you brought it up, Shakespeare in Love. What do we think about this movie? Like, it's okay. So I feel like the screenplay to this is pretty clever. In that it it takes all of these Shakespeare influences and that's what he wrote about. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the script itself is clever. What do we think about the movie itself?
It's Tom Stoppard, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I may be on an island, but I really, really like this movie.
Oh, you do?
I think it is underappreciated, I guess.
Really?
Because it came out in a bit of a weird year, and especially going against Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
It's just kind of absurd that
it won.
I think that's the lingering sentiment around that. It shouldn't have won.
Yeah, but I mean, this is such an acting showpiece.
It is.
This is such a weird fucking experience because it is a very good movie.
Yeah.
But like Jeffrey Rush is nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Judi Dench wins for Best Supporting
10
Actress.
minutes.
She's in it. Yeah. I'm surprised it was even 10 minutes.
I don't know if it was 10 minutes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that part is ridiculous. Gwyneth Paltrow, probably her best performance. And she has
to play a dude.
And Joseph Fiennes is absolutely charming and impossibly good looking in this movie, and he pulls it off very, very well. Affleck is in there, kind of on the sidelines, but he gets some good.
He's
good
better
shots
than
in.
like Keanu Reeves and
Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing. Yeah.
But no, the script is very clever. The performances are very winning.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I like it.
I like it. I like it. I didn't mean to make it seem like I didn't like it.
It's funny because I run into a lot of people who hate this movie.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies that I think it's gotten the sour taste because this is the movie that beat Saving Private Ryan. and so like it's got that like, come on. And it was definitely a politic type of thing. Everybody wanted to give Spielberg another Oscar, but they didn't want to give Saving Private. They wanted Miramax, the big darling of all awards season. They wanted to give it something. So it was ridiculous to give John Madden the director and then Saving
Spielberg won, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay.
This was one of the few splits we've had in the Oscars. I mean, it's happened a few times, but it would happen a couple years later, in fact. But it's one of the few we had where there's like, let's honor our director, even though Spielberg got his 5 years before. They were like, let's give him that, but fuck him on the movie.
But this was a big surprise. Like, I mean, the Academy has its moments where they try to make it seem like a surprise, but like this was the first time ever and the only time ever that my jaw dropped when they announced the winner for Best Picture. I was like, wow. I don't know that I wanted Saving Private Ryan to win, but I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And it was, in a weird way, it's kind of ballsy.
Yeah. This was and it's ballsy, but I okay. It may be ballsy. For all we know, it's ballsy. Yeah. But I have a feeling there was some Weinstein finagling going on.
Oh, no, that's very possible.
Especially since what happens later with Chicago and Gangs of New York and all that. there's a lot of bullshit going on with Miramax during this period of time. That's just like, it's kind of shady. But yeah, this was the year 1998 where they were all basic. It was 3 World War II movies: Saving Private Ryan, The Thin Red Line, which we'll get to, and Life is Beautiful, which we talked about in the 1997 thing. And then you had the 2 Elizabethan era movies, Elizabeth and Shakespeare in Love. So you had 2 characters playing Elizabeth in this year. Kate Blanchett obviously was the more showy role. She didn't win for it, but yeah. What do you guys think about The Thin Red Line? This is Terrence Malick coming back after 20 years.
20 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And everybody was in this movie.
I'll be perfectly honest about this one. I watched it when it came out in the theater. I don't think I've seen it all the way through since. I haven't really felt a need. I don't remember disliking it.
Well, and speaking of narration.
Oh, yeah. But my grandfather, God bless his soul, he loved war movies. Like, he didn't go to the theater ever, but if there was a war movie, he'd go see it. And I remember I knew he was going to go see this, and I asked him about it. And he said it was okay, but I just don't know why they had to keep focusing on all the fucking leads.
Yeah.
That was there you go.
That's by the way, that's most criticism against Terrence Malick.
Yeah. He likes leads.
I love some of the parts of this, but why did we focus on nature so much? I enjoy this for the beautiful movie that it is. Now, it is way too long for that type of a movie. Mm-hmm. And there is one action scene in this with John Cusack and everybody charging up the hill that is phenomenal. And it makes you wonder why you couldn't have gotten just a little bit more of that, because it is amazing.
Well, that's a scene they usually show too if they're ever talking. I've seen that scene many times. It's a great scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene, and like we could have used like maybe a couple more of that, but most of it's sort of like a treatise on war, basically. All these people. Sean Penn, what do you think one man can do in all that bullshit? What difference can one man make?
Fuck you, Sean Penn.
Exactly. Fuck you, Sean Penn. I hate you. I hate you so much. But yeah, there's like just everybody that shows up has that, like, they come up and they say a thing about war, and then they get out. John Travolta comes up and just like, hello man, blah, 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 blah. John Travolta, more Travolta stuff, and then I'm out. And George Clooney's the same way. Clooney comes in. All right, I'm George Clooney. But yeah, it's I do enjoy this movie pretty. We don't have to talk a lot about it, but it's a really good movie. What else, guys?
Well, a huge comedy that came out this year was There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Yes.
And boy, that ruffled a lot of feathers from a lot of different fronts. The way people with special needs are treated, the way, like, exactly. The way that the gross out humor, but it really thrust upon us like gross out humor and bodily fluids humor into the public consciousness. There was no better example of this by the semen in the hair. That was everywhere in the promotions of this movie, and I enjoy it. I think it's a funny movie. I think it's the Fairleys probably up there in their 1 or 2 best movies.
Yeah,
and Cameron Diaz is fantastic in this.
Yeah. But yeah, There's Something About Mary is a funny comedy. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. Matt Dillon is probably the funniest he's ever been. I don't even know if he'd been in a comedy really before this, had he?
Wild Things.
Yeah, Wild Things. There we go.
Talk about that.
Let's just talk about that. No, but Matt Dillon, and then I love the dynamic that this sets up. All these guys are uncontrollably attracted to Mary in this, and of course they picked the perfect person at this time. Cameron Diaz was as beautiful as it gets.
Yeah, The Mask is still one of my all-time favorite entrances. It's just unreal.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It was one of these sort of brought gross out humor to a mainstream type of thing. This this had a trailer on a big movie, an attached trailer, and I can't remember what it is right now. But it was the movie that sort of launched this one into the stratosphere, because it was a big movie and a big audience for this trailer. And they see the dog flying out of the window, and everybody loses it. And it was like, yep, that's a hit right there.
It was huge. I mean, it was like a lot bigger than I thought it was.
It was actually bigger than whatever movie the attached trailer was on, because it ended up being third in domestic box office that year.
Brett Favre.
Yes. What about Brett Favre?
My favorite scene, though, is the rest stop scene, and it's not what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's the look on Ben Stiller's face when that flashlight goes on him is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like everything I like about Ben Stiller encompassed in like one look.
But you brought up Wild Things, and this is John McNaughton.
Yeah.
Who Mad Dog and Glory or something like that before that. But Wild Things is one of the most batshit crazy movies you'll ever watch in your life. It is extremely entertaining and horribly bad.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It is because I actually kind of dig it now. I didn't care much for it when it came out, other than the obvious. I was a 22-year-old boy.
Right.
And Denise Richards is in it. But
and then
but it is funny. It's Bill Murray. Let's talk about Bill Murray coming back this year. Like, I don't remember if this was before or after Rushmore. This might have actually been before Rushmore got released. But oh my God, he is like the sleaziest of sleaziest lawyers you have ever seen in a movie.
There's a lot of sleaze in this movie.
Oh my God.
It's dripping. Ramped up to the ultimate. Like every character in this is sleazy. Every single one of them.
And Matt Dillon I don't even know which character is worse. There's something about Mary or Wild Things, because he is he's a horrible person.
The thing about Wild Things is, just when you think a character is the all good character, they do something that makes you think, oh, they're not. They're horrible. They're horrible people.
Like Kevin Bacon's cop. Like he ends up being shady.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you say cop?
Isn't he a cop?
He is a cop.
Oh,
he is a cop. But the word that you thought he said is prominent in Wild Things.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a funny little story about how he's a producer on that movie, and like he didn't sign up to do a nude scene in that, but to have to sue about having a nude scene in the movie would have meant suing himself. So he could, and it's like, well, I saw the scene and it actually, pretty good. So
look at how you don't know. It's like, wear a sock or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can't show it. Like, that's BS.
Yeah. Another great movie we've talked about a bunch on this is American History X.
Yes.
Oh God.
It is
hard movie.
It is a very brutal movie. But Edward Norton, as much of the goodwill that he gained from People versus Larry Flint and Primal Fear and all that, this is his best performance by far.
It's incredible. And it's transformative.
Yes.
I mean, you would not have thought that the kid from Primal Fear could put on this heft and have this much gravitas.
Yes.
I mean, you believe that he's the leader of this whole operation, and that he's just smarter than everybody. He's more vicious. He's more Machiavellian. And I mean, it's horribly disturbing, but it's magnetic too.
And that scene on the sidewalk,
yes,
or the curb. It's like hard to talk about that scene.
It is.
That's partly why I don't watch this movie that often.
No,
it's a great movie. It's not a movie I want to rewatch a lot.
Yeah, amazingly, that scene is way worse than you think it is, because they don't show everything in that scene.
Oh my God!
But
just thinking about it.
they put just enough detail in there to make you just before it even happens, you're just like squirming.
And a sound effect.
And the sound effects.
People that have not seen this are going to be putting this in immediately. Now they're going to be like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah. Well, so Norton obviously gets nominated for this. He doesn't win, but he's fantastic in it, and it's really one of those characters that goes through the entire range of emotions throughout a whole movie. Like, it's insane how much he's asked to do in this. He is he's just starts the beginning of the hatred and everything, and then he's just full blown like evil person. And then he goes to his prison, and that's where he's changing.
Yeah, and you buy it. Like you buy his story arc. It's very well written. It's very well acted. Fairuza Balk's really good in this movie.
Yeah.
No, she's vicious, man.
Oh my God, she's awful.
I mean,
awful.
This has got to be her best performance.
Oh yeah, for sure. The guy he meets in prison, Lamont, he's sort of he's the unsung hero of this movie. We focus on Norton and everything, but his sort of, I don't know if it was his cellmate or was it just somebody.
No, he was just folding laundry with him.
Yeah, he was folding laundry with this guy or whatever. But that's the guy like who sort of like, sort of gets him on changing on his character, and it's just a great little performance that we don't talk about that much in the movie itself. But man, this is such a So it's a movie that's great, but it's hard to watch multiple times for sure. What else in 98, guys?
Out of sight.
Out of sight. I was about to say it too. You owe me a Coke.
Jeremy's going to hate not being here for our Out of Sight.
I know. I thought about that. I was like, good God, this has got to be the year he was excited about.
Well, 99 is the one. I mean, Out of Sight is one of the very best movies to come out in the 90s.
Yep.
Steven Soderbergh, he had done Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and then he did a couple of like, those were good experiments or whatever. And nothing worked more for his career than getting George Clooney on board of his movies. And he became Steven Soderbergh after this movie. Wasn't a big hit, but this certainly was one of the first movies.
How was this not a big hit?
Right.
I mean, my God.
I think
this seems to have everything people would like, I
think people were still kind of like, Clooney from ER is kind of like Caruso from NYPD Blue. They were still kind of like, I don't know if I buy him in this type of stuff.
Batman and Robin probably didn't
Batman
do
and Robin
that probably
didn't help. Although it was funny, Soderbergh told Clooney when they started making this movie, we're gonna put an end to a lot of your little facial.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. That was a big deal.
You're not going to be able to bob your head around or anything like that. But he had made he made The Peacemaker previous year, and he From Dusk Till Dawn wasn't a big thing and whatever, and people were still kind of.
I don't think people bought the idea of Jennifer Lopez really being able to get to this strat, and I don't think she had up until then. I don't think she's come close since either.
And I think she's,
unless you're a big enough fan.
I don't know what do you guys think about Lopez in this movie? I don't know that there's a weak point in this movie. I think she is serviceable. Like, I think she's fine.
It's her character.
Yeah.
It's her character that's good. I think that's the thing.
Well, it's Elmore Leonard character.
Yeah.
I think she plays it perfectly, though.
Well, I think it's her best performance, not even close. But
it's a cool character, and she is just exuding this chemistry with Clooney that they really capitalize, and they capture in that whole scene in the bar, flashing back and forth.
That
to
is
the hotel
one
room.
of the best scenes ever.
Oh, that's amazing! My God,
that cutting back and forth between the restaurant and them.
That's amazing.
It's just, Jennifer Lopez had shown some chops earlier because she was in Selena and she did really good in that. And she was in some minor stuff like Money Train and all this other bullshit. She hadn't really become J-Lo yet. That was like a year or two after this, I think. But yeah, this is an incredible cast. This is one of Don Cheadle's best performances, which is saying something because he's
reading
great.
is fundamental and shit. Yeah. Oh my God, that scene. Albert Brooks.
Yeah, Albert Brooks is fantastic in it.
Ving Rhames is great.
Yeah, and it's it was one of those movies that Soderbergh sort of was experimenting with editing and trying to make things kind of interesting.
And this was where this was based on Elmore Leonard. Jackie Brown was Elmore Leonard, so he actually had the same characters in both books in a small role. So he had Michael Keaton come back.
Yeah.
And actually play that character, which was one of Lopez's...
Ray Nicolette.
Yes, Lopez's ex-boyfriend, right? And actually, to be honest, like that's an interesting thing. Jackie Brown and Out of Sight, I know you said you liked Rum Punch. I'm a big Elmore Leonard guy. Rum Punch and Out of Sight are probably two of my least favorite books of his. I don't mean they're bad, but as far as Elmore Leonard goes, they're not that great. But probably the two best movies that have ever come from his books, which is really odd. Although Jackie Brown's very different. Out of Sight is a very strict adaptation.
Oh, really?
Like it follows it very closely.
Huh, that's interesting.
And they do a great job.
It hums along. I mean, it moves, and he does the weird edits and everything, especially in that scene where it just stops for a second and that kind of thing. But I think it's like one of like the most perfectly paced movies that I've ever seen. Like,
Yes.
it just runs and goes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
And no second is wasted. I love it. I love it so much.
And that's my favorite attempted bank robbery ever in a movie is that opening scene. I remember I read that in the book, and I remember when I found out they were making the movie, I was like, I cannot wait to watch that. Because it's so great on the page, and it worked perfect on the screen. It's better.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, has no one ever thought about that or tried that since that movie's been made? I'm not going to give people bank robbing tips, but watch the movie if you
We're giving you bank robbing tips. Watch Hell or High Water for some more. Let's see. What else in that? Okay. Unfortunately, we got to talk about Godzilla for a brief moment.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
Can we just put Godzilla and Psycho together? Let's just do like a Godzilla Psycho
and Armageddon if we want. We can put Armageddon all in there too. We're talking about Armageddon, actually the second highest grossing movie of the year.
I thought it was first. What was first?
Saving Private Ryan was.
Oh, nice.
Unbelievably, it went past that train wreck of a movie.
Good for you, Ryan.
Armageddon's one of those movies though that like has got a following. Like
that's absurd.
Like it's not the people it's not the pop audience that enjoyed it in 1998.
Yeah.
It's the ironic audience.
It's got a Criterion release.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that's got enough. I guess it's got enough. The cast is amazing in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great guys, and like Steve, it's got Steve Buscemi, and you got Billy Bob Thornton, and Bruce Willis, and fucking Owen Wilson, all these people. But like, there's enough like humor in it that people really glom onto that. Like they glom onto all the.
It's Michael Bay humor. Though.
It is. So it is. But people just get into it for whatever reason, and it's. I hate this movie.
Oh, I do too. This is
completely.
The first time like Michael Bay, like I think, started buying into his own hype. Like, I mean, this is like the Michael Bay-est fucking movie. This is what started. Like the Bad Boys and The Rock are very different movies than this. You can kind of see the precursors.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is just like Orange Sunset after Orange Sunset.
Yeah.
People just yelling at each other.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, there's a whole scene where Bruce Willis is chasing after Ben Affleck.
He's trying to kill him.
He's actually, I mean, he really is trying. No, this is our introduction to the character.
Right.
Like, why am I supposed to care about this guy? He just literally tried to shoot this guy in the face.
Yeah. But Armageddon came out, it was the second asteroid movie of the year. Deep Impact came out before this.
Yeah.
Deep Impact actually was number 8 domestically.
Oh, really?
And probably the better movie.
It's a better movie,
but
absolutely.
not very memorable.
Yeah, it's a better movie, and it's got
maybe it is to bear.
It's got Morgan Freeman as president, where he can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, I think it's.
You know what? Deep Impact might be better, but I've probably seen Armageddon more.
I think I have too, sadly.
I think it.
I think as much as I hated Armageddon, I think for some reason I saw it twice in the theater.
Oh,
I don't remember why that happened. I didn't even work in a theater. I don't have that excuse, but I think, and I also remember the tagline. It was "Heads Up."
Yeah. Somehow, even though Deep Impact made a lot of money, people were like, "Yes, I want to see some more fucking asteroids."
That's right,
and they saw it to the tune of $200 million.
Oh my God.
in North America.
Well, it was July 4th, I think.
It was, but good God, guys. Fuck us.
They wanted to see Bruce Willis stand.
Fuck us. Fuck us as a
music,
continent.
like blowing him away.
Yeah. But so you had in the 96 thing, I talked about how Emmerich and Bay basically started what I believe is the blueprint for the blockbuster that we're going through now.
I think that's good. I think that's a good philosophy.
I mean, there are obviously, you could go all the way back to like Star Wars and Jaws and all that stuff to see the like early Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the 96 is where you really start seeing like this is accepted. But so you had Bay with Armageddon and you had Emmerich with Godzilla, the Godzilla reboot. Godzilla reboot, one of the worst things that I've ever seen.
It is hideous. It's offensive. It's an offensive movie.
There's no good moments in this.
No, I didn't enjoy myself once. I enjoyed myself listening to the soundtrack.
Like with Armageddon, I could say,
there's
a couple of things I kind of liked about Armageddon. Godzilla, there's nothing.
No, even Matthew Broderick can't charm his way out of this movie.
There was a good trailer with the fisherman.
That
actually got me excited.
The trailer where everybody's going through the Natural History Museum and the big giant foot smashes on the dinosaur, because it was that trailer came out the summer of The Lost World. It was like a year in advance. And that was good. I was like, oh yeah. And they even had the trademark Godzilla scream and all this other type of stuff. It was fabulous. And then the movie comes out.
It's one of my favorite Cinemasins videos.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, despite the fact that Godzilla was sort of a tank job, it ended up being the 9th highest grossing movie.
Yeah, that was
year.
the first movie I remember making a lot of money that people were saying it was disappointing.
Yeah, no, and it made a lot of money, but I think it lost money overall because it had 136 million or whatever. And it probably cost double that.
But at the time, movies making 136 million, that was a hit.
That it was, but I bet
no
Godzilla
longer.
still cost around that much.
Oh,
to
I
make.
bet. Yeah, that had to be one of the first.
Yeah, 130 million production budget, so it didn't make any money back.
Oh my god.
What else in 98, guys?
Well, let's talk about a good movie that we probably, the three of us, would really appreciate because we all play poker. It's Rounders.
Yes.
Oh, Rounders is amazing.
Rounders is a really fun movie, right?
Yeah.
It's got great characters with Edward Norton again, Matt Damon, John Malkovich, Martin Landau. This is just a fun movie. Even if you don't like poker, this is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And the relationships in it, and just the way that they explain Texas Hold'em to now it's ubiquitous in the society. Everybody knows what Texas Hold'em is, but they didn't at that point.
No. And when I watched
really good.
When I watched it, I had no clue what was going on.
Well, and I didn't either. I played poker at the time, but I did 7-card stud and 5-card draw because that's what my dad taught me how to play. So that's what I was playing. And I saw this, I'm like, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I looked into it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
It was years and years and years, but then finally I watched it when I had a better knowledge of poker. I was like there's a scene, the very beginning scene, he loses with the second best hand, and then he says, "Oh, I got outplayed," and it was like, and it's like,
yeah, I have some problems with this stuff with him and Malkovich.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's one of those things where you're sitting there going, "No, you didn't get outplayed. You would have done that in every single time."
Yeah, good God, that happened to me and Chris 3 weeks ago, and I did the exact same damn thing. I'd do it again.
Other than that, it's I love just the idea this poker world, and this was Brian Koppelman, who's behind Billions now. Brian Koppelman actually went to a lot of these games. He called them something else, I think, in the movie, but he went to a lot of these games around New York to sort of get some idea of how this was going.
It's the best poker's ever looked in a movie, because that's not an easy thing. I mean, I guess you got that ridiculous stuff like Casino Royale, or talk about everybody having the freaking best hand.
Yeah. We'll get to Casino Royale later, but Rounders is a fantastic movie, and this is John Dahl, who did The Last Seduction.
Red Rock West.
Red Rock West is another great movie.
Go see that immediately.
Yeah, both of those movies are great, and so this was sort of his return. He hasn't really done much since. No. I don't think he may have done some TV, but it's great. What else? 98, A Bug's Life came out. A Bug's Life was Pixar's follow-up to Toy Story. It took them 3 years to actually. Now it takes it's every year they come out with one, but this one it was a letdown from Toy Story. Yeah. It's still a good movie, and in fact, it's a
really good movie.
In fact, it's better than most family entertainment that comes out. But yeah, it was a letdown from Toy Story, and that's, again, we run into this a lot now when we're talking about a follow-up, like we talking about Big Lebowski to Fargo, and last year, the last year that we talked about, everybody was coming out with movies that followed up something. But A Bug's Life is a really good movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great, and that's another one like Small Soldiers I've watched with my child and been like, oh yeah, this is really freaking good. I was looking back at this year, and there was a lot of really good animated movies that no one talks about anymore. Yeah, they did well then, but then nobody talks about them anymore. Mulan was Disney's, and I think that's probably Disney's best, at least late 90s. Post Lion King, I would say that's one of their better ones. And Ants, which was kind of like A Bug's Life with Woody Allen.
Yeah,
all
Ants,
freaking people.
Ants, I think, is a little bit underrated. They've got a lot of talent, voice talent for that, with Gene Hackman and, of course, Woody Allen and Sharon Stone. And isn't Christopher Walken in this?
I don't remember. I haven't seen Ants in forever.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
Walken
fun.
Is in it. It's Stallone's. Yeah, Christopher Walken, I'm pretty sure, is in it
because
as well.
And that was yet another there were 2 Ants movies. You know,
animated bug movies.
Yeah, I remember I did a movie review show at the time. It was on our college station, and we reviewed Ants. And one of the girls that was on the show with us, her negative comment on it was, "Yeah, but if these were the live actors and it wasn't animated, would we care?" I'm like, no, it's a freaking animated movie. No, if people were dressed up as ants, no, that'd be the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it really comes down to it comes down to the delivery, right? There's something to that. Wow. Anyway, and Ants was DreamWorks as well, so they came out with 2 that same year. Prince of Egypt was sort of like that was a really, I don't know, a big movie for them. DreamWorks had just come into existence the year before. So they really went I think they tried to reach too far with something like that.
And I don't think it's on par with those other 3 movies. I think it's good. Like it's a very, especially for DreamWorks, because I'm just not a DreamWorks fan.
Another big movie that I love is Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yes. Good movie.
Guy Ritchie, who has fallen off the face of the earth after Snatch and was it Rock and Rollo might have been his last movie that people kind of...
Well, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't do as much as he used to anymore. But I love Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That's got a poker scene in it too, even though it's a different kind of poker. It plays "I Want to Be Your Dog" during the poker scene when the guy loses and everything. But anyway, it's a movie that's got all these interlocking parts to it. It's complex and it's got all these. But I love how it's all just like put together by the end of it and everything.
And it started my lifetime goal of becoming Jason Statham.
Yes.
How's that going?
Not good. He will not return my call.
Excuse me. Will you please turn that TV down? Also, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes, love this movie.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's Terry Gilliam just going fucking bonkers.
It's nuts.
Terry Gilliam, Johnny Depp, Hunter S. Thompson. It is just like a bonkers combination. And Depp went through all these machinations. Like he lived in Hunter S. Thompson's basement and, hung out with him all the time. Got his affectations and his accent and everything down beautifully. They're both from Kentucky, so they kind of had this similar background. And it's crazy. Benicio del Toro is unrecognizable
he is.
in this movie. He gained, I don't know how much weight to play the lawyer there. But it's not a great movie. It's not something that you're going to be like,
really
man, it really should have
so
won a bunch
fun.
of awards. It's just, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So fun.
I can't knock it.
Blade came out in 1998.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, it's decent. It's so 90s. It's such a 90s comic book.
Oh, that club scene at the beginning.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like everything had to be like club music and bullshit back then. It got Mortal Kombat, even though Mortal Kombat's not a comic book movie. Like New Line Cinema was like this king of like, if you heard that type of music in a movie, fucking New Line.
I was just thinking of horror movies. That year was a bunch of Scream inspired knockoffs, like you were talking about. Started in '97, but you had Urban Legend.
Yeah. Oh my
which
God.
had the great line toward the end where the killer's revealed and they have the biggest bug eyes I've ever fucking seen on a killer. And she says, "Don't you want to be an urban legend, Matt? Everybody does."
Oh my God.
Or all your friends are, or whatever. But I still know what you did last summer, which had they got a trivia question incorrect. That's what started off that inciting incident. And Halloween H2O, like a Halloween film, was 100% like a Scream knockoff. Like they totally went the Scream route, and it is
throwing
terrible.
Josh Hartnett in it and all that.
Oh, that's what's the floating head posters. Were all over the late 90s. But, I just thought that was interesting. That was definitely Scream Mania had taken effect, and everybody was trying to get their Scream in.
Yeah. I mentioned The Parent Trap real quick, just because that's brought us to Lindsay Lohan and all that. It was also, I don't know, maybe Disney has always been doing this and we just didn't know it, but they've been remaking everything since.
Yeah. That's
then.
a good point.
Yeah,
they did start it way back then. I mean, Herbie came out at.
Well,
101 Dalmatians.
Lindsay Lohan was in a lot of those. Like it was just like she was in that Freaky Friday remake and. Meet Joe Black came out in 98. There's another decent movie. I mean, this is Brad Pitt sort of solidifying himself. I doubted him for a very long time, and I'm sure he's heard that before from me personally. But no, like he's really good in this. He's kind of, I mean, it's a remake as well. Unfortunately, but he's really good in it, and it's a Martin Brest movie.
Yeah, and what was there was a big deal about that movie when it came out? Was it the budget? There was something about that movie. I couldn't remember.
It might
I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere because I remember there being a hoopla at the time.
It was probably over how beautiful Claire Filani was.
It could be. It could
she
be.
was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, she's unbelievable.
So was Brad Pitt.
Well,
to be
I know,
fair,
between the two of them, it like made a lot of babies.
It's like,
just
will you guys just have sex?
Yeah, just for me. Do it for me. Great movie came out from Sam Raimi. A Simple Plan came out in 98.
My God, I love this fucking movie.
Yeah, so good, right?
Oh my God, the Billy Bob Thornton, as many good performances as he has given, this might, and I mean, I'm even talking about maybe even better. This might be his best performance, even better than Sling Blade. Yeah. This performance is unreal.
Yeah, he did get nominated.
That perfect, like, simple-minded individual that's just trying to do right, and this movie just gets absolutely batshit insane, which I think it's good because Raimi, I mean, originally it was going to be Mike Nichols, and then it was going to be Ben Stiller was going to direct it.
Yeah, out of nowhere,
and John Boorman, and I think actually John Dahl was involved, and then thank God they got Raimi because I think there's certain stuff in it. It just as crazy as it goes, and a lot of bodies start fucking piling up in this movie. Yeah. And I think the guy from Evil Dead kind of made that work. It's a great movie, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Billy Bob Thornton has one of the best line readings in this, where he's just like you can't do that. That's fucked up. Blah, blah, blah. You guy just sticks that's fucked up in there in the middle of like all. I love that.
Yeah, he's talking about you can't bring Dad into this. He's like, Bill Paxton's like, what would Dad do? And he's like, you can't bring Dad into this. You don't know what he would say. That's fucked up. Oh, it's awesome. And Bridget Fonda's like, she just like turns into Lady Macbeth at the drop of a dime. Bridget Fonda was on some kind of role for a couple years here. She didn't really keep it going.
Yeah.
But she's great in this movie. Paxton's Paxton. I'm not a big Paxton fan. I don't completely buy his remorse. And I think the character was supposed to show some because he kills some people.
Yeah.
But basically for those, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows what it is, but it's basically like if you found a bag of a ton of money just sitting out in the woods, what would you do?
Yeah.
And you find out.
Yeah, these people go off the deep end.
It's a perfect ending. It's perfect ending.
Absolutely.
It's just a great movie.
Yeah, watch that movie. Also, Ronin came out. Now, I don't like Ronin. It gets a lot of like praise for its car chase scene, which is good. But man, I didn't like the movie very much.
I didn't either.
Yeah, this is John Frankenheimer, who's a very capable and good director, but he did The Island of Dr. Moreau just before this, I think. But even though he had like a good career all the way up into the 90s, he started doing these really terrible movies for whatever reason. But Ronin's got the car chase scene. Good for it. Dark City came out.
Yeah.
Alex Proyas is follow-up to The Crow is an outstanding movie. It's visually stunning. It's got a great story to it. Great sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Visually, it's great. I think there's a lot in it I like. I like it overall. I think the story doesn't really interest me that much. And that was one I actually rewatched, and I don't know. I don't get the love for it.
Yeah, but, I didn't like it when I first watched it, but now I love it.
Yeah, I think I liked it more when I first watched it than I do now, which is weird.
It has one of the best trailers of all time.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. 1988, Rush Hour came out. This was Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan. It was sort of the I guess it was sort of getting back to that old Lethal Weapon type thing, only a little bit more manic.
And more racist.
I think it's one of the better versions of that, though. I mean, it's entertaining. It's funny.
Yeah, but it's
racist.
One of those mismatched type of things where, it's, in Lethal Weapon, it was very simple. It's white and black, but they're buddies and they can do whatever, they can say whatever they want to each other. Now in Rush Hour, it's like it's thrown a little bit more into the forefront.
Yeah. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, exactly. A terrible Star Trek movie, Insurrection, came out.
Yeah, that was like a bad episode of. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, Can't Hardly Wait came out in 1990. Yeah, fun movie. A lot of people became big deals after that. Tony Scott's Enemy of the State came out. Will Smith and Gene Hackman.
I like Enemy of the State, and Gene Hackman's basically playing his character from The Conversation, which is a great movie. I think I like it quite a bit.
Yeah. It's got a following that I wasn't prepared for. I've just realized this. That it's got a pretty good following on it. The Faculty came out. There's another like
Scream,
Scream type movie came out. A movie that I know Jeremy and I both like, Fallen, came out.
That is a good movie.
I love
that is a good movie.
Yeah, Fallen is really good.
I also want to be Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
It's got a really interesting trope of using the Rolling Stones' "Time Is on My Side" as it kind of goes, the spirit of this serial killer is being passed back and forth and everything. And the way they do it is really cool, and the way that it ends up ending is kind of cool, but also unsatisfying and kind of
another great John Goodman performance.
Yeah,
and it's
really.
Hobletz, right? It's the guy who directed Primal Fear.
Yeah, Gregory Howlett. I mean, John Goodman, I think, was in like 5 movies this year or something like that. It was a lot of movies.
But if you want to watch a cool twisty thriller with a it's a good one.
Pleasantville came out in 1998.
Great movie.
I love that movie.
Excellent movie. Joan Allen in the shower faucet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you go to.
But yeah, Pleasantville's a good movie. Although the thing that always bothered me about Pleasantville is that like all the range of emotions change these people to color. And J.T. Walsh's character shows anger all the way through it, doesn't turn color until like it's dramatically, a dramatic reveal or whatever for him at the end. But yeah, it's a good movie. Now we're starting. Okay, Wedding Singer, pretty good.
Yeah.
Waterboy, not so much.
Yeah, Wedding Singer is the best Adam Sandler movie of that year.
Yeah. The Mask of Zorro. I know a lot of people like that.
I like that movie.
That's not a bad movie.
Yeah, Martin Campbell, who did Goldeneye and all that, was.
So 2 kind of indies here. One is Your Friends and Neighbors.
I love that movie.
I know you've got that's Neil LaBute actually directed it, and that's Ben Stiller, very different from his character. And There's Something About Mary.
Oh yeah,
but it's really
an interesting bit of trivia. Granted, this is Wikipedia, so whatever. But first movie reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really,
that's interesting.
Interesting.
Well, the other movie that I wanted to mention that is a little bit underseen, I've talked about it before, is the remake of Great Expectations.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And this is Alfonso Cuarón, who went on to do Gravity and all that stuff, and Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow. And it's Robert De Niro, and it's a really I love it. It's a really affecting drama, and Bancroft is great in it. Very atmospheric, and it's got a killer soundtrack.
Paltrow had a good year. Paltrow had a very, very good year because she also did Sliding Doors, which is a really cool, interesting take on a love story, as we were talking about, we like earlier, with parallel dimensions and what would you do in this situation if you could do it over in this situation.
Yeah. And, I really like Sliding Doors.
Yeah, and also that was when my life goal started of wanting to be John Hannah.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
I got a lot of life goals. Working through them.
2 movies from directors who'd be huge later. Darren Aronofsky did Pi, which is a really good. It's a crazy ass movie. Yeah,
it's good.
But it's fun to watch.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
And boy,
I saw that on a double feator with Blade. I saw Blade second.
Yeah.
I liked Blade better later in my life. Yeah, I enjoyed Blade later.
But Christopher Nolan's first movie, Following, came out this year, and I have only seen this one time, but Hugo Weaving is really good in that movie.
See, I thought you were going to go F. Gary Gray. Well, that wasn't his first movie though, so you couldn't have gone that way, because one of my favorite underrated movies from this year is The Negotiator.
Oh yeah,
I think The Negotiator is amazing.
Yeah, it's great,
and I have never been able to figure out why that movie didn't make more money or get more of a following, because it seemed to fit right in that action period, that 90s action scene, but it was actually like good. It was clever. Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson going at it. J.T. Walsh, Paul Giamatti.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, quit saying no, motherfucker. That's like my favorite line from that movie. That movie is a lot of fun. If you're looking for a fun action movie, it's hard to beat.
The Negotiator's great. I think there are a lot of people who love that movie now. Like when it came out, hardly anybody gave that a chance for whatever reason.
Yeah, I saw that opening weekend. I was like, this is going to be huge. And nobody saw it.
Yeah. Another independent movie, Run Lola Run, came out. Another fun movie. It's got a nice little premise to it and everything.
Oh, yeah.
What would you, it's almost the pre-Memento almost. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. It's kind of like that type of deal going on.
And a great lead. I mean, she's terrific.
She's fantastic. Franca Potent, whatever. It's probably pronounced some other way that we're upsetting.
Sorry, Germany.
We're upsetting an entire country.
Happiness?
Yeah, Happiness.
Oh,
yeah. Todd Solondz.
Happiness is a movie that I've always hated to admit that I love so much because it is so wrong.
That's disturbing.
And Dylan Walsh,
Yeah,
right?
Dylan Walsh.
Plays could you say the most heartwarming pedophile you've ever seen in a movie? I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah, it's exactly the way you put that.
You feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe he won't put that in the tuna fish.
And
don't do it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not going to say the line he says to his kid, but it's one of the best and worst lines ever committed to film. The line that Dylan Baker says to his own kid.
But it's a great movie.
Yeah,
it is.
It's
just hard to really recommend to anybody.
Well, and Todd Solondz is one of those guys who just kind of like...
It's not visually disturbing. There's nothing violent. It's not... It's more subject matter and just the tension.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually some sweet stuff in it, too. You've got Cameron Mainheim's little subplot, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm All Out of Love. I'm glad I saw it.
Then there's... okay. So there's basketball, which is not going to win.
Do not like.
Jonathan obviously doesn't like. This movie has the most worst jokes and best jokes ratio ever. It's like a 1-to-1 type of thing. Like terrible jokes, then like lots of great jokes, then terrible jokes, and then lots of great jokes. It's not a good movie by any stretch.
No, but
I am not saying go out and watch it, but good God, there's so many funny things in this.
It's fun to watch. It's one of our most quoted movies.
I think a couple other great movies that I think fall under the radar. I don't have to talk too much about them, but Primary Colors.
Yeah, it was
really good political satire.
Mm-hmm.
John Travolta. I mean, he's playing Clinton.
Which the whole book was a sort of a.
It's not anonymous.
Is it
author.
anonymous? It's an anonymous author this time because it was somebody who was in the Clinton campaign.
Yeah, and I think they did figure out who wrote it, but it was at the time it was anonymous.
Yeah, it was one of those type of deals where they either it was somebody in the campaign or somebody who knew enough about it to like write.
But He Got Game. Is a really good Spike Lee movie that nobody talks about ever. Denzel Washington and the Milwaukee Bucks player.
Ray Allen,
It's Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, that's right. It is Ray Allen.
But I love He Got Game. I did actually mention it a few podcasts ago because we were talking about Spike Lee. But I love He Got Game. I've seen that a bunch of times. So here's a few more minor ones. The Last Days of Disco, Whit Stillman.
Love it.
Love that movie. And then Celebrity, Woody Allen. Not a good movie.
Do not like that.
Not a good movie, but Leonardo DiCaprio's cameo in it is one of the best things.
But you also got your Brana reference in. Brana was also in The Gingerbread Man that year, which was Altman. I believe.
It was.
John Grisham wrote the script.
There were a lot of independent movies that came out that were just, they're on that. They're bubbling at the surface of being great, but they never like totally broke out. Then there's another one. I'd like to mention this because it is an election year. Bulworth came out. Yeah. Warren Beatty is basically Donald Trump in this movie. And I can't wait because we're going to have probably something about election movies.
Yeah.
If you want to see like the predecessor to what Donald Trump is, look at Bulworth, watch Warren Beatty in this because he basically just says, fuck it. I'm not part of the system. I'm just going to just do whatever I want.
It's a really interesting movie.
Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I don't know if it's a great movie.
No.
But
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
And you have to have a high tolerance for watching an old white guy rap.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're ready to vote unless you've got some other... There's a lot of like independent movies that came out that are worth mentioning, but they're not going to win.
Yeah. So, let's go on and rock the vote. So today's order is Chris, Barrett, and Jonathan.
Mine will not matter, I'm sure.
It
may matter.
Yeah, you never know.
The movie that I like the best out of this is Rushmore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is...
Did not see that.
Yeah, this is just one of those movies. It's just... It's funny. It's got the best. It's got all these great performances in it, and it's so rewatchable. And that's can be said for quite a few movies that I could pick here. But I'm going to go with Rushmore because it's the one that I've probably seen the most out of everything in this year. And just a great breakout performance for Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray coming back. It's as good as movies.
And you said it was one of your favorite movies.
Yeah.
So that works.
It's got a real broader impact than you would think because it really started like, a whole subgenre of not necessarily even Wes Anderson movies, but movies that are trying to be Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
And revitalize the careers and everything. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It is really awesome.
I've probably got 2 or 3 others that could have contended for this, but my gut reaction is this one.
No, that's great. That's a great one.
Yeah, it is.
I was trying to talk myself into voting for Saving Private Ryan in this because it really is amazing. It's epic. It's got everything that you want in an epic movie and a war movie. But I can't vote against Out of Sight. I'm going to vote for Out of Sight. It's Soderbergh. My favorite Soderbergh, and I've got a lot of favorite. I love his deep cuts, like fucking Side Effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Out of Sight is just almost a perfect movie for me. Performances, pacing, everything. So, Jonathan, your vote does matter. Every vote matters here.
A Perfect Murder. No.
Yes.
That's what I like.
No, it's not a bad movie. I'm torn. I am so torn. Between a couple, and one of you said, but I'm actually going to go with Simple Plan.
Okay.
Oh.
I love like I already said, I love the shit out of this movie. I have a little bit of an issue with Bill Paxton in it, but that's kind of where I'm going. I'm looking at all these movies and I'm like, what? Like I have to nitpick because I've got 7 or 8 here. I just can't choose between. And so I'm going Simple Plan. I don't have any more to add than what I already said.
Yeah,
but, I'm going Simple
No,
Plan.
that's a great one, man. And I don't have any problem with any of you guys' choices. So back to me. I'm going to go Truman Show for my second pick.
Nice.
Truman Show is just one of those great what ifs to me. And I believe it's also a movie that had a lot to say about what sort of world we kind of live in now with the 24s. Even though it's not exactly that to a T, it's close.
I don't think it's very implausible, actually.
Yeah, it's very close. It's like the curve gets almost there to the line, and then it goes down. That's how close it is to being what life reality stars lead or whatever. So, but a great performance from Jim Carrey. This is an unusual movie, just one of those you can't mistake it for anything else. Like when it pops on, it's got the Philip Glass score on it and all this other type of stuff. It's just a unique movie. So yeah, that's going to be my second pick.
Was that Paul Giamatti as
Paul Giamatti?
Paul Giamatti?
Yeah.
I'm working here.
Yeah, Ed Harris tells him to turn up the wind and turn up the wind, and he's like, hey man, he doesn't even know he's going to die out there,
And who knew that man was going to play the Rhino so well in Amazing Spider-Man?
Right, totally. That's what I was sitting there thinking.
Well,
hope he plays the Rhino one day.
Yeah.
Well, almost for the Paul Giamatti role alone, I would probably vote for this. But Ed Harris's character in this is just the perfect foil. Like he's overblown. Everybody just worships him. He's the auteur and everything, and he just plays it beautifully. So I'm going to vote for Truman Show too.
All right.
I'm going Out of Sight.
Okay.
Nice.
Well,
I'm not just trying to kiss up to Jeremy. I love this movie. It's like I said, I'm a big Elmore Leonard fan. This is probably the second best Elmore Leonard adaptation there's been. I still love Jackie Brown more, but in 2 years, that's amazing. Because the cast is so good. Clooney, Brooks, Cheadle, even Lopez is serviceable. Like I said, it's just an amazing movie. I got to go Out of Sight.
Well, and that means Out of Sight wins.
It sure does. Yeah. 1-1 and 1-2.
To be fair, though, Truman Show would have been number 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Truman Show's really good.
And Out of Sight would have been my third.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of one of those where it's like all those 3 just kind of jumble up together, and
But really, Simple Plan won here.
But really, a simple plan. Well, today we're going to be going over the fall movies, basically all the way up until winter. Actually, we'll go through the holidays as well.
Man carries a gun, he tends to use it.
We're what's known in common parlance as peculiar.
I have difficulty socializing with other people.
Maybe I rip your arm off, beat you to death with it.
The reality you know is one of many.
I interrupted from the top, Hero of Men. Go.
Here's to the ones who dream.
And we're going to talk about movies that we really want to see and some that we don't, and maybe a little bit in between there.
Well, we can start with this. So this is coming out on Monday, which is the 19th of September, and Blair Witch has already premiered on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That's as good a place to start as any. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think about Blair Witch as a concept? So what it looks like to me, just from what I've read in the trailers, is it looks like a lot of retread, a lot of jump scares, none of the organic terror that you would have. And of course, the marketing, obviously, for the first Blair Witch Project was completely different. But this just looks like a standard horror movie to me with found footage stuff, basically taking all the worst parts about the Blair Witch Project, everything that filtered down into, and then slapping that name back on it.
Yeah, I think Blair Witch, a sequel like this, is about 15 years too late at this point. They made that second one, which was sort of a play on the first movie. Like the characters in the second one knew of the movie in the second, which I don't like. I don't like that sort of that awareness going on. And of course they get into their own, the Blair Witch Book of Shadows is an awful fucking movie.
I'm just going to stay quiet.
Jonathan, you like it?
Book of Shadow? I thought it was a very interesting way to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Blair Witch Project. I love the Blair Witch Project. It's probably one of my 10 favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
But no, it's watchable. I've watched it 3 or 4 times. I don't know that I like it.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
It instantly lost a lot of its brand recognition with that second movie, and then Paranormal Activity came out. And it came out every year. Paranormal Activities, there's 6 of them. There's 6 of those movies, and each
just irritates you, right?
Yeah.
It's sickening.
Well, I mean,
6.
I was fine with the first. I was actually fine with the first 3, and I was like,
all
right, just go ahead and just end it now. But then they had to go back for more and more and more and more, and so now the found footage genre has become watered down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come out with a movie 17 years after the original. And and people even now with the original Blair Witch Project, they look back on that movie as kind of that was an interesting thing that kind of came out or whatever. I don't think there's as many people who like it now as did then. I really like it, but it's when you watch it again, there's a lot of glaring weaknesses to that movie.
And if you get within the horror fan community, that movie, the first one, it's so divided.
Yeah,
to the point where I don't even want to. I wouldn't discuss it with a horror fan because it's just like I don't want to get beat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's got so many things that you don't like in horror, and there's a lot of things that you do like. But because it's a lot of boredom. And whatever, and then when you actually do have something, it's something that you can barely hear in the background. The ending is amazing too.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is good about this name anymore, and that's what I have a problem with. They might as well have just called it The Woods, like they called it forever.
I liked that. I almost think they gave it away too soon. Like I don't know if they ever would have done this, although I heard an interview with the writer and he did say they talked about doing this, but actually just calling it The Woods up until opening weekend, and then people are going to go in and they'll be like, oh my God, that's a fucking Blair Witch movie.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
It would have been awesome.
But I don't know how many people would have gone and seen it if it was called The Woods.
I don't know. I think I think Blair Witch's name may have been watered down to the point that it would have been better to call it The Woods.
Maybe so.
Like it might as well slap Paranormal Activity on the name of this movie. That's how much watered down it is, I feel like. But yeah, it's not going to do anything this weekend too. Like once this airs, it'll probably have made like 12 or 13 million.
Yeah,
and that's not good enough to get a franchise back up.
Adam Wingard's a good director, though. I would like to throw that out there. He was, at least they got a decent filmmaker. He did The Guest. He did You're Next. I mean, they're not great movies, but he's a good guy. He seems like a good director.
Yeah.
So why don't we hit the highlights of the rest of the months here?
Sure.
And
okay.
For September, 2 of the big highlights would be Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Kids. Good bullshit. That's the title, right?
All right.
Okay. Something like that. It's actually a good book.
So this is a good book. This is Tim Burton going back to the Tim Burton well.
This looks like no, I mean, I actually think this is Tim Burton's wheelhouse. This is something that might actually be good. I mean, yeah, it could be terrible, of course, because he's done a lot of that.
He doesn't have a good track record.
And it's
over the
not a
last few
movie
years.
that I'm going to go out and watch. You know, I'm not going to go see this, you know, when it comes out or anything. But this is perfectly him. And I feel like he could probably do a pretty good job. And if it's a good book, then maybe it has a chance.
But Perfectly Him was Alice in Wonderland, though, right?
No, I don't. And I don't think.
No. I'm not saying the outcome, but just conceptually.
But I don't think his heart was in that. I don't think he was into Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. No. First off, remake, and that's another thing that. Yeah. And he did that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake, and he did Planet of the Apes remake,
Dark Shadows,
and he did Dark Shadows, and all these remakes. And every single time you read something about Tim Burton and these remakes, he's like, well, I didn't really like the original version. I made my own. And it's like, that's why it sucks.
And unless he shows up in a weird hat, I don't think Johnny Depp's in this movie. So and that's sad to say that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But I probably won't see it in the theater either.
No.
If my kid was a little older, maybe. I think it's a little too much for her. But.
Yeah. I mean, visually it looks just like, it looks like a perfect Tim Burton movie. But, is it
maybe
good?
He gets his mojo back. Yeah,
maybe so.
Well, the other one that we all probably will be seeing in the theater is The Magnificent Seven. That comes out late September. And from what I had my doubts really when this first came out, but watching the trailers and just kind of like getting the feel, looks like everybody's having a fucking blast in this movie.
It's a good cast.
Yeah,
it's an excellent cast,
and it's a big budget movie, and it's a good cast, and why not?
When you see Denzel Washington kicking some ass and all
Chris
that,
Pratt, Ethan Hawke,
man, you see all these people kicking ass, man. It's like, all right, okay. I mean, it may not be good, but you got me. Yeah. You got me.
Could be The Purge.
Yeah.
Could be the Purge. Exactly.
Sorry, that was weird.
Another one that comes out in September, Deepwater Horizon. Yep. Which is, I don't know. Does it look kind of good?
I don't know what to think about this movie. It does look kind of good.
This movie makes me feel like I don't watch the news enough because I don't know what the hell this is about. I'm like, what is this story? I'm so stupid.
So this is the story about the people that were actually on. Of course, the Deepwater Horizon caused that massive oil spill that fucked up our ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the whole oil spill story. I guess I just didn't know it was called Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah, but these are the story of the guys that were actually on that rig when it exploded, right?
Yeah.
So that could be good. Is it Peter Berg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he loves Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, he does.
It's the Berg.
But it looks like it's almost like Die Hard with against nature, basically. Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Or kind of like a perfect storm.
Perfect storm.
Return from Wahlberg.
We were going to have Kate Hudson sitting at home in her underwear.
Yeah.
So upset.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But Deepwater Horizon,
it's in the preview.
It's kind of, it's one of those movies I remember seeing, and, would every once in a while something would come out in September that's like this. And it was like, oh, all right, I'll go ahead and watch this. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, that wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what you're going to I have a feeling that's the way that movie is going to be.
And this is not one I don't think I'll be seeing in the theater.
We're not bad people. We're not seeing any of these movies. Good night, everybody.
I mean, see everything in the theater.
Do we want to talk about anything else in September?
I think we should. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Snowden is on the 16th.
I mean, I'm just because it's Oliver Stone.
No, Snowden is on the 16th. Snowden, it's Oliver Stone, and it's we've already gotten a Snowden documentary. It's kind of like the
I was more excited when this preview first came out. I was like, oh, cool, Oliver Stone's back. And then I started thinking about Oliver Stone. I'm like, when the hell has he? And I went back all the way back to like 95 was Nixon.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's made anything really that great since then.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, there may be some people who are like, U-turn, man. U-turn's great. No.
or World Trade Center.
Yeah, World Trade Center, which is, and W.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Yeah,
I mean, there's some movies that he's made are like, they're definitely not what he used to make, but...
Well, so this is Joseph Gordon-Levitt again in an unnecessary dramatization
of
a documentary
with a weird accent
to The Walk.
Yeah,
I just cannot bring myself to watch The Walk. I just can't do it. I'm like, I saw Man on Wire.
But I will give him this: he sounds exactly like him.
He does. Really he's a great actor. He's a great actor.
Yeah,
but I just fear he's going to turn into like Johnny Depp. He's going to start wearing hats.
Oh, yeah, he's going to start wearing hats? Yeah. All right, so in October, I think that's where we really start with Oscar hopefuls and everything, although a lot of people, after what Sully did over the weekend, have said, well, Sully's really started the Oscar. It's usually October, though, that starts it. And The Birth of a Nation is what comes out October 7th. This has a lot of baggage on it because the guy who directed it, who's in it, they brought up his rape charges way back in 1999, and even I think it was Gabrielle Union came out and said I loved doing this movie, and then I didn't know about that and everything. I have to speak out and everything. But other than that, can we talk about this movie?
Yeah, I think we need to talk about it on its own terms.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what you're talking about with Woody Allen a lot of times.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people have had like things that have happened, in the past. We're looking at the movie more than anything, but
and the movie, it's hard to overshadow this type of content. I mean, this is really heavy stuff about a guy that's kind of well respected, well read, is the spiritual leader of
Nat Turner.
Nat Turner, yeah. And it's just it really is. Watching the trailer is just pretty moving. Just the trailer itself, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it. You have to go through all that,
and this has got a really bold title too, because it's.
I thought that was weird.
The early silent Birth of the Nation is famously racist because the Ku Klux Klan comes to save the day.
Yeah,
unwatchable.
Yeah, and But yeah, so they sort of like taken it back with this. But yeah, it looks good. I'm hearing some occasional bad buzz on this though. But it looks great to me. It looks like something that I would definitely watch. I don't know if I'll watch it in theaters, but I will definitely give this a look. Also, The Girl on the Train. Jonathan, have you read this book?
I have. I read it last year along with a bunch of women that apparently read it. No, it's really good. It's in that I don't want to say it's like Gone Girl, but that's an easy comparison because it's not really an unreliable narrator, but it is like it's a female narrator. It's this thing where she sees this couple on the train every day out of the window. She starts imagining this life that they have, and then one day she realizes that the wife's not there anymore. Or the woman's not there anymore. And then so she kind of starts, just because she's like this lonely, sad person, she just starts basically trying to get in and try to figure out what happened to this woman. If she did disappear, what happened? And it's really interesting where it goes. The book, the main character is not Emily Blunt. It's not an attractive person. It's very much what you would think like a sad single person that plays with cats.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
She's an alcoholic. I don't know how much they're going to keep in it.
I had read a few. Had read a few pages of this, and I was like, I can't imagine Emily Blunt in this because this is a single person who has a hard time, meeting people, and I'm like, that's not Emily Blunt.
And I'm sure Emily Blunt's going to be really good. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind. Emily, I'm not knocking her, but it's kind of like you read Carrie, and then you go watch and you see Sissy Spacek, and you're like, that's not Carrie.
Yeah,
but no. It's
definitely not Chloe Grace Moretz.
No. But I think it'll be a real. I don't know if there's ever an easy book to adapt, but it would be really hard for them to fuck this up, I would think. But they could.
Yeah.
But Gone Girl was really good, so I think this will follow suit with that. I think a lot of people are going to go watch it.
Yeah. It looks interesting to me. This might be one that I actually, go and watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I like a good adult thriller. We just don't get enough anymore. So when they do come like this, and we've got another one coming out this month, right?
Yeah.
The Accountant.
The Accountant.
So, I mean, I think I'll definitely check this one out.
The Accountant looks amazing.
It really does.
Yeah.
We love Ben Affleck, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We didn't used to.
Yeah. Well, and there's something to be said.
He had a dramatic.
He did. Well, he did that fucking rock movie, right? The Armageddon that we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. That fucking rock movie. I think, and there's nothing wrong with this, but he nearly ended his career doing it. he enjoyed being a movie star and like
having sex with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, why not? I don't blame him for that, but like it got all sorts of. I mean, he made a lot of bad choices because of all that. Yeah, and Geely was the apex of it.
The cast you can't go wrong with,
right?
With Anna Kendrick and J.K. Simmons and Ben Affleck, that's just fucking dynamite. Like even if it weren't like a really interesting premise, I'd probably go.
And even though half the time it's like just completely silly, I like these like secret hitman movies. I don't know what it is about that story.
Yeah.
That story's been told so many times, and there's been a lot of terrible movies, but it's just, it always lures me in. Like, I gotta watch that.
Well, they always do something different with a character like this. This time it's like he's like a super genius and everything. And he's going around and the CIA wants him because he's helping those guys out, man. He's finding a way to hide their money and all this other type of stuff. And you're like, okay, kind of an intriguing. Then Anna Kendrick stumbles on all the guns.
We thought it was just a dude that like laid out his utensils and ate really, abstemiously.
But I've been seeing this trailer probably. It seems like a year, but I'm all over it. What else?
Another solo machine type of guy is Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
right?
I love Jack Reacher.
You've read almost all the Jack Reacher.
I have not. I actually have not read the one from last year yet. But I've read like the 20 or whatever previous to that.
Jeez,
so that's my Harry Potter.
Yeah, a lot has been made about Tom Cruise not being when the first one came out.
Talk about somebody not being the main character.
Yeah. What bothers me about him in this role is not the stature, but it's the fact that like Jack Reacher is like the epitome of just cool and intimidating, and I don't get any of that. Even from his performance is perfectly good. But if you got something like Harrison Ford in his prime, or if you got Denzel, like somebody that is physically and just imposing, is what I would love to see in this role, and it's not that.
I honestly, though, I thought about that when I was thinking this is such a great series. I think I even told you guys in the past, like I cannot believe they haven't made a movie out of Jack Reacher. Mm-hmm. But I could never picture I could never picture an actor. I never could picture anybody. So Cruise works just about as well as anybody for me. I thought the first one was a good solid. I think Cruise is in this period right now. You guys were talking about this a little bit last week about his like kind of prime. And you said you could almost call the period it is in now a really good one. And I think it is, because I think he's not doing great movies, but he's doing good movies. And there is nothing wrong with that, because there's not a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got this thing going with McQuarrie and, all these guys and Brad Bird, and he's making pretty solid movies. I just can't believe this movie was made.
Yeah, well, it made $80 million when it came out in 2012. It was a middling type of hit. It was, I mean, a lot of people came out and like, I kind of like that or whatever. 2012 was around the time where I felt like Tom Cruise was still not very confident with his choices. And Jack Reacher was just another one of those movies that came out during that time, and I was just like, what is he doing? He seems lost, even though he's fine in Jack Reacher.
Well, in that summer, he had done that one. Oh my
was it
God.
Night and Day?
Yeah, Night and Day.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Night and Day, but this came out, and I was just like, everything that's coming out now seems like low rent Tom Cruise. And then he sort of, with Mission Impossible and Edge, the new Mission Impossibles and Edge of Tomorrow and all that.
Edge of Tomorrow.
He just sort of I don't know, he came back to that. And when I see this Jack Reacher sequel, I'm like, what movie is this? This is so much different from the first one. Like the first one just seems kind of like basic. This one looks like I mean, it's not anything new, but
he's never going back.
Yeah, he's never going back.
I will say though, out of all the novels, this is one I'm really surprised they adapted. There's better novels, but maybe that's not a bad thing, because like I said, those Elmore Leonard books ended up actually being really good movies, so maybe they'll do their own thing with it.
And this is he's reteaming with Ed Zwick on this too.
Last week, that was
Last
I couldn't remember
Samurai.
who did the
Last Samurai. All right,
another book adaptation, The Inferno.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to laugh as I'm saying this.
And I have read this book, and I have nothing good to say about it.
I don't know what happened with Dan Brown books that got made into movies.
Well, they weren't great in the first place.
Well, Da Vinci Code is what really launched it into the stratosphere, and that was a good book. That was a terrible movie.
Well,
it was my favorite of his books. That was the most plausible. Just saying something that story is the most plausible.
Well, Angels and Demons.
Other
than him jumping from a plane without a parachute, but that
wasn't
wasn't in the movie.
I'm going to hesitate in saying the book is good or the books are good. And the movies, I mean, they're awful. It's so the Dan Brown books. What is it about it? They're entertaining but bad. What is it that
they're entertaining but bad. I mean, they always fall apart at the end. That's why I'm saying the Da Vinci Code is probably the best out of that, because it at least kind of ties things up. Angels and Demons is just a super stretch.
Well, and they skipped a book. And I don't blame them, because was it The Lost Symbol? That's the one. We actually read that at like around the same time. I remember when we were texting like, this is ridiculous.
I don't, I think it's unfair. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's unfair to Dan Brown to say that he was trying to write fucking literature with Da Vinci Code.
Exactly.
He's trying to write exactly what you read in those books. And at the same time, we can criticize it and say it's horrible, but whatever. It's not fair to him, but it's still
the movies, however bad the books are, the movies are even worse. And they keep making them because they keep making money. And
overseas.
What a waste of
overseas. This is a prime example of
Hanks.
overseas.
Yeah.
Like this and the Ice Age movies. That's the only reason they're being made.
Yeah, absolutely. So and Hanks is gonna have a little bit more suck now because Sully is,
Yeah,
because he's got the past 3 years he's made a comeback basically, and
I can't see this movie making money.
I can't either.
I can't even see it making money overseas. It's being released at a weird time, and
they're coming out with it around Halloween.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Oh man, wow. I do want to mention Boo, a Medea Halloween.
Oh my god!
I was hoping that you would mention that.
I know, because
the only thing that irritates me about that is that fucking poster's a Halloween thing. Like they do like a Halloween parody with that poster. Like fuck you.
I thought for a long time Tyler Perry was the new Ernest P. Worrell, but
that is such a good comparison.
But now I am certain of it, because remember,
Rich.
Except Rich. Look. She has saved Christmas just like Ernest did.
Yeah, she did.
And now she's scared stupid, like in Boo, a Medea
now
Halloween.
She just has to go to camp.
Now she has to go to camp, which was the first one.
Hell yeah.
Medea goes to camp. It's going to happen at some point because he is following that pattern. Doctor Strange comes out on November 4th. That's the new original Marvel movie that doesn't rely on any of the other things before it at all.
Did you ever read these comics?
No.
No.
I haven't either, but I mean, seeing the response from people that really love this narrative, it looks like they're super excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you can't go wrong with Benedict Cumberbatch. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. It looks like Inception married to what? I mean, it's all these buildings folding over each other and stuff. Reminds me a lot of Inception.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so the different worlds and dimensions and universes and everything.
Only problem with the trailer I have is that I don't really know what the deal is. Like, I know who the bad guy is. Like, Mads Mikkelsen's the bad guy. But, I just don't know what the point, what he's trying to accomplish in this movie. And I don't know what the conflict or the stakes are. So that's the only thing about the trailer that I don't like.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of setup. Like it's you're introducing him as a doctor, and then you're introducing him as almost dying or dying, and then you've got him going into different dimensions and learning, and it's definitely going to be, or looks like it's going to be, a real origin story, and maybe like a tacked on conflict at the end.
Yeah.
I'm a Marvel kid, so I'm a big Spider-Man fan and stuff. So I never read Doctor Strange. I never got into the whole fantastical elements, although I guess Spider-Man's kind of fantastical, but like the swords and sorcery. But he was obviously in comics I read, but I don't know enough about the character to speak to how, it looks, it's going in the preview. The preview doesn't really move me either way.
Yeah.
I remember going into this, I thought, when I heard they were making it, I thought this could be like the next Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this could be the Marvel movie that's not like other Marvel movies, and it kind of just does something weird and crazy. And maybe it will.
Yeah,
but
I hope
so.
It's
interesting.
I hope so.
It looks like
I don't
they're
get
going
anything
for something
from the preview, and I do like the Marvel movies more than you guys do. But I'm kind of on the same page with you too. It's like
the trailer is not good. Like it's not, doesn't do its job for me, who maybe who doesn't like everything that Marvel puts out. Like for the Marvel crowd.
What's wrong with you?
Well, for the Marvel crowd, for the Marvel crowd though, it's like, oh, new Marvel movie, I'm there.
Yeah,
but it does nothing for me. The trailer doesn't. Like, it could be a great movie, and I hope it is.
It feels like Thor to me. Like, I'll watch it, but I'll be like, meh.
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson's comeback. That's it. That's getting all sorts of.
Talk about an affecting trailer.
Yeah,
that's a great trailer.
Yeah, it is. The story of Hacksaw Ridge reminds me a little of the Sergeant York. I don't know if you ever saw Sergeant York or know the story, but a conscientious objector going into war, and in Sergeant York he decides, all right, but there's a biblical verse that says I can kill people, so I'm going to do it. In Hacksaw Ridge, he stays true to his ideals and is still a hero, and that's a fucking story I want to see.
Yeah,
I mean that's
incredible.
But if they have like a rundown ending where like The Rock just grabs the rifle, it's like, fuck it, I'll start shooting people.
yeah, that's gonna make the movie bad.
See, I think I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks really good. It's a very unique take on war. It's based on a true story that I don't know much about.
No,
so,
me either.
I'm really interested to.
And we know Mel Gibson can make some great battle scenes. He makes great movies. Apocalypto, which came
hell of a movie,
which came out during all that time that he unfortunately said a lot of stupid shit. It got completely like glossed over because of all of his, and listen, you can't talk about Mel Gibson without talking about
fun movie. There's a lot of good action scenes and like sequences and
and you can tell in this trailer there is no mention of Mel Gibson. It is the director of Braveheart,
right?
And that kind of thing. So
he's not in it either, right?
No, it's not in it. But they don't mention that it's Mel Gibson. They want it to kind of get on its own.
Kind of sad he's not in it though.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. November 11th, Arrival.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god!
Does it seem like the trailer? I know I'm talking about the trailers a lot, but that's what we have to go on right now. Does it seem like it gives an awful lot away, though?
It kind of does.
It could. Well, that's what you don't know. I mean, when you're watching it, because it's interesting. Like when like something like Girl on the Train, which the Girl on the Train trailer, I don't think gives anything away. But when you've actually read the material and then you watch the trailer, it's kind of interesting to look. Oh, I wonder how much they're giving away. So you don't know in a situation like this. But yeah, it could be.
I mean, it just seems like a lot more scope because then she's out and then she's back in and then she's out and then she's back in.
And it's a great direct. I'm not even going to butcher his
Denis
name.
Villeneuve or something like that.
But
he did Prisoners.
Oh my God.
And
talk about another hard movie to recommend that's really good.
Yeah, he did Prisoners and he did Sicario and he did the. And I'm probably still mispronouncing that name, but. It's going to be as close as I can get, God damn it. But no, he's a great director, and this looks like Contact meets Close Encounters.
Like smart science fiction, which I love.
I'm all about it. Of. Yeah, and it's shown what's fantastic about Gravity, Interstellar, and The Martian coming out is that these movies are getting made now.
I know it's great.
Getting huge cast.
Yeah, getting huge cast, and they're all good. They're all good movies.
It looks like Amy Adams could be like the talk of the fall when all is said and done.
Because she's also in that Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah. And oh god, that looks amazing too.
Yeah.
But it looks great. I don't even know what to say about it. It just looks great.
Yeah.
That's a movie that you would want to see in the theater probably, right?
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's going to be a huge hit too. Like
really?
I do, because it just seems to be gathering some buzz.
You got the right feelings about these things.
I do, but I have been terribly wrong before.
I thought, one of those recently for me was Morgan. I thought Morgan was going to be huge for some reason. It was something about those previews and stuff.
It was Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, it was Paul Giamatti screwing stuff up.
Yeah.
On the 18th, we've got two movies. The Edge of 17 has a really great red band trailer. If you ever want to see it.
Well, and I actually accidentally watched a scene before I saw the trailer because I thought I was clicking the trailer. And it was actually like the full scene with her and Woody Harrelson about the suicide note. Oh my god, that looks hilarious!
Yeah.
Like that sold me immediately.
Yeah, same here. Again, we've got a character like Haley Steinfeld who is gorgeous playing.
Make her very homely.
Yeah, they make her homely and everything.
And the relationship with her and the teacher, which that's not new, and it reminded me a lot of the Emma Stone movie.
Easy A.
Yeah, which is a great movie. So if it's like that, good. But Woody Harrelson, it just looks like he's going to give a performance of the ages in that movie.
Yeah.
So I hope he does.
But this is James L. Brooks producing. I don't think he directed it. It's somebody named Kelly Fremont Craig or something like that. He directed it. But James L. Brooks is smattered all over
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's like from the producer of this and from the, they always do this where the studio that brought you or not or the company that brought you this, like that matters. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them comes out the same day. Also that we should have gone back,
exactly. Yeah. Edge of 17 is probably not going to make that much money now.
Yeah, not the movie that you would think of on the 18th, but that's the way I'm reading it.
But is this going to be that big, like Fantastic Beasts? Do you think it's going to be as big as Harry Potter?
Yeah, it is. No, I mean, not as big as Harry Potter, but it's going to be big enough that
it's coming out in a good time.
They'll continue.
You got such a built-in audience there, and it's over the holidays.
And it's 2 weeks after Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, I mean, it's at least tangentially, connected to Harry Potter because this is the book that he reads in the early years. Like it's one of the textbooks that he has, and this is one of those. Like I've seen trailers for this for a year. I haven't been excited about it at all.
Me either.
But. I think it's gonna easily make 100 million.
I feel like I have to see it.
The only time that I get excited in this trailer, I agree, because it's not. It really, that's another one that doesn't really show you exactly what's going on. It's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But when you have that pause and you bring in that John Williams score, the Harry Potter, dun, 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 dun. Oh man, I love that score so much.
During the Thanksgiving week, which is normally a garbage dump, but surprisingly enough, when they come out with movies on Thanksgiving. Some reason they're garbage, I guess, because nobody really goes to see movies on Thanksgiving. But one movie that came out in Thanksgiving many years ago was Bad Santa, which became a big hit on video and everything. Now it's getting a sequel, and the trailer looks awful.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
What are we surprised? I mean, these 15-year later sequels or
comedy sequels in general don't do well.
That's true.
Like in general, like you can come up with some that are better or just as good as the original, but yeah, especially the 15 year or whatever. This is 12 years.
Yeah.
Especially with that, it
might be better than Zoolander too.
Yeah.
That was too. Oh,
yeah. But also Mona comes out. It's a Disney animated movie that's coming out on like in the Thanksgiving week.
Is it Mona or Moana?
I've looked at 3 trailers and they never once pronounced her name. I thought he said Mona and he said it
Mona.
Okay, so it's
like Tony Danza.
So Moana, yeah, exactly. Moana actually makes more sense because it's Hawaiian and everything. But like Disney doesn't seem to be proud of this movie, is what I'm saying.
That's interesting.
Like everything that I'm looking at doesn't make I haven't seen any trailers like in theaters. Maybe there have been. I don't know.
There's just that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. They're not proud.
They
of this.
don't seem like it. Well,
but they did the same thing.
And they're coming out with it in Thanksgiving week, which is not a good sign.
Interesting. Yeah,
but they did do the same thing with Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, remember that was even supposed to be released under their banner, and they moved it to Touchstone or Hollywood or something because they didn't want to have anything to do with it, and that ended up being really good. So you never know.
For all I know, this is a great movie, but
it doesn't
all the signs point to not good.
There's nothing that really.
It's not going to be
sets it apart.
Zootopia, I don't think, for them.
No, hell no. There's also I just want to kind of mention Rules Don't Apply because Warren Beatty's finally coming back to directing.
Oh, I haven't seen anything on it. I've heard about it.
Rules Don't Apply is another Howard Hughes movie, but it's more about this actress that he interacts with and everything. But it's kind of funny because Alec Baldwin's in this too, and he's in The Aviator, which is the other Howard Hearn. He's playing a different character, but it's like we're doing a Howard Hughes movie. Come on, Alec.
I'm in.
Anyway, that's coming out. Then December 2nd. There's always some horror movie. There's 2 horror movies coming out on December 2nd. Incarnate and Keep Watching. I haven't seen any of those trailers. For whatever reason, the first week of December, which is also a garbage dump, by the way. They
The Pyramid
come out with horror movies on that.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, they come out with horror movies on the first week of December.
There's almost always a horror movie on Christmas too.
Yeah, Christmas Day. They always do that. But I guess the big one on the 2nd is Kidnap, the Halle Berry movie.
Okay. I'm trying to pull it, but I kind of want to see. I don't know if I want to see it in the theater, and I don't know. I kind of feel like Halle Berry's on this weird, I'm just gonna do these weird 90s thrillers.
This looks like a B movie.
Yeah,
it looks like Kurt Russell should be in this.
But but it looks like one of those quick paced, just like fat. I don't know. I like those kind of movies. I don't know how else to explain it. I just kind of enjoy that.
I'll explain it this way. Her kid gets kidnapped, obviously, in a park, and then she kills 5,000 people looking for
it'll be Taken 3.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Taken 3.
And I will enjoy every last second of it.
Absolutely.
And it won't be good.
Though some way, somehow, we'll enjoy this.
Yeah, it won't be good. It won't be good.
But because there'll be 5,000 wrecks that she causes.
And it has Halle Berry. She's so sweet.
She is.
She can kill whoever.
Yeah, you're right. And then there's Office Christmas Party, which looks like it's Jason Bateman and Jennifer Aniston and they all, and TJ Miller's in it, and it's like this, they throw the like most craziest office party there is. It's kind of going along the lines of what we've been seeing lately around Christmas. Like, let's just make some adventure comedy movie. This office party would never take place, but it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
and all this insane amount of stuff is going to happen in one night.
Right. The 16th, a little movie called Rogue One, the Star Wars story. The Star Wars story comes out.
Am I the only one this doesn't interest at all? Like, it doesn't look bad. I'm just not like, I got to see that. But I'm not a Star Wars guy, so that might be part of it.
I'm a big Star Wars guy.
You are. And, so are you. So is Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to watch this, but these trailers do leave you a little wanting. Now, the reason why I think these trailers, and I was watching this yesterday, and I was watching the one that came out, I guess, a month ago or so. The reason why it doesn't do much for me is that I feel like there's a lot of characters in this movie that they're just kind of glossing over. Like, they're showing all the action, which is what they should do. They want to get everybody in the theater or whatever, but it feels like there's a dynamic between all these characters that are on this team, this Rogue One team or whatever, that they're not showing in the trailers, because there's a lot of little scenes that they kind of like barely just like skirt over in the trailer and everything. And I'm like, oh man, if they could show a couple more of that, I'd be really excited. But yeah.
Well, that's the nature of it. That first trailer that came out, she's like, well, I rebel. I'm a rebel.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So I guess she's trying to be singular, and it's Rogue One. But I agree. Yeah, there's a lot of things. It looks like much more interesting characters that could be brought into that to really sell it for the people that aren't just going to go for explosions and spaceships and stuff like that.
And I don't care about the whole Death Star thing. I know a lot of people are complaining about that. Like, they're talking about a Death Star again. Right. It's like, I don't, whatever your story is, if it's a interesting story, I don't give a crap what it's about.
And they've, even though we know what happens in this, I think as long as they build some characters up in this where we're like, when she says in Star Wars, the number of these people died trying to bring it, I don't want that guy to die. Yeah. I don't want this person to die. Whatever. That's the kind of the sort of I guess the thing they're going to go with.
Well, and this is huge for Disney and Lucasfilm and all that. I mean, because this is their whole. They're banking on this side Star Wars universe thing that they're going to be able to. Every other year, you're going to get one of these movies.
Yeah.
And then you'll get your main Star Wars movie the next year.
I think a lot of the stuff that was about this was overblown. They had to do reshoots and they're having, there's some trouble and everything. Nobody's going to care about that once this movie comes out.
Suicide Squad made like $300 million. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like if that can happen.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Collateral Beauty comes out on the same day. That's the Will Smith, which, man, all I could think about, even though it's not the same movie, I kept thinking about 7 Pounds.
Yep, me too.
I thought it was the same director, and it's David Frankel who did Marley and Me, which actually kind of makes sense. But I thought it was going to be the same director who did it, because it was 7 Pounds, and then that other one he did before that with his son.
Oh,
he's homeless.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. The trailer, I don't know what to think of it. I
like the trailer.
You said
the trailer almost made me cry.
Yeah, you said that. I was like, and then I watched it after you said that. I should not have watched it right after you said that.
Man.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm sure it's all phony, and I'm sure it's all. But I don't know, man. Something about it got to me where he's just like. I don't know. I think it was a really well done trailer that just kind of said, "Here's how he was. Here's what he is now." And then these fantasy characters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have no heart, because I was not moved at all. I was just like, okay.
I'm like halfway between what you guys were there. I was like, oh, that looks, I don't know. I might give that a shot. I don't know. And then let's see. We have another Illumination Entertainment cartoon coming out called Sing on the 21st.
I will be forced to see that.
You will be forced to see that. I watched the trailer and I'm like, this doesn't.
I don't know.
Good.
It actually, like I said, they had Secret Life of Pets, which was a huge hit for them. I'm sure the sequel is already underway. And I thought it was okay. So this could be the same, but
I don't know. It just seems like one of those movies that they like. Let people like singing, right? And
Carpool
people like
karaoke.
Yeah, people like animation, right?
You want to see a gorilla survive from the mean streets?
Yeah. It's like it reminds me of like when Kevin Spacey's in Swimming with Sharks, and he's like on the phone, and he's like, I had somebody complain that we didn't make any movies for the kids, so let's come up with the best, like the most recent, most happening thing going on right now, for the kids.
And what's funny about it, though, now that I'm thinking about it, after I made that comment about that idiotic comment about ants, about what if this is real people, it kind of does like all these like little montages where you can see like all these different subplots are going on, and it's like you've got the wife who's got a bunch of kids and her husband doesn't pay attention to her, so she wants to do this singing competition. That sounds like a human movie, but it's pigs.
Yeah.
And then you've got the little gorilla kid who's like, his dad wants him to be like a gangster and commit crimes with him, and he doesn't want to. And then you got that scene where he's talking to his dad in jail, like, "I'm sorry, Dad, I'll make it up to you."
Yeah.
You're like, that seems like a real movie, but it's gorillas.
Yeah.
It seems like they're taking like all the moments from Collateral Beauty and they just put animals in.
Yeah.
That's what gets you.
It's George Orwell all over again.
I'm not going to be watching that movie in the theater.
I will tell you all about it.
All right. Assassin's Creed also comes out, and I haven't played video games in forever. I know this is a huge video game.
It is, yeah.
But Michael Fassbender may make me go watch this movie because I like Michael Fassbender a lot.
I haven't seen a preview.
There's There is one teaser going on right now. That's
I know nothing about the property. I know it's a huge game. I'm not a gamer, so but yeah, I like Fassbender, man. I also want to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just throw him in the mix.
There are a few others that I do want to talk about before we go here. La La Land. When does that come out? Limited, it probably comes out.
December 2nd is
December 2nd. Yeah. That looks phenomenal.
Great trailer.
And it's not
great 2 trailers.
And it's not based, because I'm not a musical expert, but it's not based on any property, right? It's an original because it is a musical, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it looks really good.
That looks amazing, and I can't wait till they actually come out with like, a real full-on trailer for that because I think that's the movie that probably has all all the Oscar voters abuzz right now. But then there is Michael Keaton and The Founder.
Oh, the McDonald's story.
Yeah. Which limited USA December 16th is when it comes out. Mm-hmm. That's Michael Keaton playing the founder of McDonald's, and that looks good, and he's getting a lot of buzz for his performance in that as well. Anything else that's on the list?
Passengers, although we haven't actually seen a preview for
that.
That's a really interesting premise.
Yeah.
I've seen stills from the movie, but it's Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence?
Yes.
So that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas Day. And
it should be huge, but there's not a proper trailer out right now, and there's only
and that is kind of weird.
There's a strange clip of them like waking up and they're naked or whatever, and they're walking towards each other, and that's about all I've seen of it.
Yeah,
and
that's all you need to see.
And it makes me think that they're hoping to come out on Christmas Day, but it's probably going to come out in the summer.
Well,
now.
And I don't know because it is a sci-fi thing. I mean, I think they're on a spaceship or space station.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the life support. They wake up and they have but so I don't know if the Star Wars thing makes them a little nervous.
Yeah, it would me if I was coming out with a movie like that.
I would think so, because especially if it's sci-fi, even if it's not the same story, you're getting the same people trying to go to both movies.
Yeah, and you're asking them to do it second or third week of the Star Wars, and if it's a weird type of sci-fi movie, then you're not going to get that many people.
And we just kind of glossed over, but I am really excited about Nocturnal Animals. I believe that's November, though. But I don't know what that's about. Got nothing, but I love that.
Yeah, it
preview.
looks great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
Amy Adams looks like she is going to be breaking some hearts.
She thinks her husband dies, and then he sends her a book that he wrote that's like for her, but it's got a lot of violence and shit in it. Then it goes completely crazy.
Yeah, it looks kind of neo-noir, and
Aaron Taylor-Johnson looks amazing in it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It looks kind of Lynchian. Looks a little David Lynchian.
Yeah.
I get a little Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. And then American Pastoral, the Philip Roth adaptation
Great
that
book.
Ewan McGregor is directing.
Yeah.
But it looks really interesting. Dakota Fanning plays the character that's supposedly I guess she is, setting off bombs, and then she disappears and all that. But that looks really interesting. I was shocked when I saw Ewan McGregor directed it, and I guess that's his debut. If there's anything else that we missed today, we're sorry. There's only so much time. Only so much time that we have to do something like this. But and we're not going to get to a Q&A this week, unfortunately. But anyway, thanks to Jonathan for coming out and subbing for Jeremy
you guys
today.
for having me.
And you hit a home run for us today. So
I try.
I
try.
But anyway, that will be the SinCast for this week. This is Chris Atkinson, Barrett Scherer, and Jonathan Watkins. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit Cinemasins.com. You watched some shitty ones too.
I did it all.
What, Hard Rain?
Yeah, I did what? Well, that was on. That was just like freaking on. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing 98. I'm going to watch Hard Rain. It's like laying on my couch watching Hard Rain.
It rains so hard in that movie.
I'm going to talk about that fucking movie. We need to stop. I don't want to ruin the podcast.
Wasn't it? It was called something else at one point, right?
I've got that info.
Rain Hard.
Rain Hard.
Vin Diesel. I mean, this is 1 year before Pitch Black, right? Or 2 years. It's a couple years before
it's
Fast
just
and
before.
Furious.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just before.
It's right before he blows up.
Right. Yeah.
Literally and
figuratively.
We do disco. We do gangster rap. We do disco. It's fine, right?
God damn it.
I know what you do. I think we've heard enough from Jonathan. You want him to step out now?
Yeah.
All right, peace out, guys.
That
was fun.
Let's get him the fuck out of here.
98's awesome. I can get you a finger by 3 o'clock. Or I can get you a toe by 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
With no toenail polish on it and everything. Fucking amateurs.
Yeah.